Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Victoria Run 3 run as Brazil here. Last episode was our starting steps video. We got off the ground running. We talked a little bit about what advantages and disadvantages Brazil has. We also kind of did some usual expansion, you know, taking Brunei, taking Bahrain, starting to push into South Africa, and also going from the Mosque of Djenne. I think that these kind of three things are probably the most meta expansions you can do, and probably worth doing in all of your runs. We also have a decent shout at pulling off getting Kenya as well, in addition to getting into Mosque of Djenne, so this is pretty good. One thing I noticed in the interim, and it was also pointed out to me later after I uploaded the video, was that, in fact, we do not discriminate against Catholics. So if we go into population, we go to charts, and we go to, we do not discriminate against Protestants, we do not discriminate against Protestant pops. So if we take a look, we actually do have a decent amount of English migrants already, and Irish migrants the same. And so you're looking at, you know, we have about 500,000 migration coming in from getting into the Great British Customs Union, which was kind of our central, important thing to do in our starting steps relative to other plays, because I think being in a customs union is going to be really strong when you are in one of these, you know, countries that has a whole bunch of arable land that is not fully employed, because you have the huge bonus for migration. So you definitely want to have, you know, an enormous amount of people, you definitely want to have an enormous amount of migration, or people that you can get to migrate to you, because if we take a look here, the plus 25 from unused arable land is huge. It's as if your standard of living was 25 higher when it comes to migration, which is absolutely insane, but you can't siphon off pops unless you have a market to siphon them off from. So that's why we joined the Great British market for the most part. So let's find ourselves a war and be off and away. We're going to go to war against Carthage here, and we're going to puppet them, again trying to do the low infamy. Something I also didn't emphasize that much is dear Pedro here is in fact a bandit, and so we are decaying infamy more slowly, so we are going to want to try and get off of this kind of quickly. We're going to take another tick of total separation, and then we're going to evaluate what we're going to do in that regards. But for now, we're going to puppet Carthage here. And we are also going to open their market, and as a primary war goal, this way they are much more likely to, or it is less likely that great power joins a play later against us versus our subject in order to open their market. So this is kind of something to keep in mind. It seems to be the case that great powers really like sticking their finger in your pie when you have unrecognized subjects. We are still taking on some subjects, so this might become a little bit of a problem later on, but hopefully it won't be too bad. You know, the big thing that can go wrong is Great Britain can join against us in a play, and we want to avoid this, but we also want to try and get the Mosque of Djenne a little bit quickly, so it is what it is. We can get minus enactment chance. We'll just take the minus enactment chance, not a big deal. We're going to come off of total separation. A little bit unfortunate. I think we've gotten some unlucky ticks on this one. We do want to get onto free trade, so we're probably going to do that. If we could get just the landowners alone to rev, this would probably be something we might be interested in, but this will rev everybody. I don't think we can fight that revolution. Maybe if we had more subjects. So maybe we go to free trade, and maybe we go dedicated police force. Just the landowners hate this, and this will help to kneecap their clout. So going to dedicated police force is reasonable. We are on public schools. I don't think we have, I think the majority of the people who endorse are not in government. I believe we have Industrialists and Intelligentsia, so it's not like we have a super high pass chance. We allow child labor, we have migration controls. We could switch to no migration controls, this would be worthwhile. And I think that this will radicalize the petite bourgeoisie and the rural folk. I think we'll try for free trade is less important because we're in the Great British market. So maybe we just try and get rid of, you know, either slavery or migration. Let's go no migration controls first and see what we can do from there. We'll tick... now, of course, we get the war with Carthage, and we are, of course, also pushing economies of scale in various places. I think we're going to push up a little bit more here. If I'm not mistaken, these guys might have an iron bonus. Do they? Yes, they have iron mines throughput bonus, so this territory is quite nice because the iron mines here are they're getting a huge amount of throughput, so each iron mine is worth more of a mine, and I believe that these ones are having a hard time employing up all the way because we need the labor. Of course, this is what the migration's for. And we will enforce on these guys in short order. We probably should have put in war reps as well, but, you know, can't play super tight all the time. I mean, you can, but you have to play slower. Or I do. Oh, we did put in war reps. GG, we don't even know what we're doing. So we're going to do the same thing with Sengo. Again, we're going to make sure to open their market while we puppet them. Great Britain might side with us. Big nice. And we will make sure to open their market as a primary war goal so we don't get our pie fingered later. We'll do that. And we get no migration control, so a little bit of a lucky tick, so this is nice. We can go after the slave trade. I think that we do want to go after the slave trade, actually, because this does give plus 50% landowner political strength, and so banning slavery is going to be nice. This will radicalize just the landowners, but it will also allow us to pull more migrants later as we go into multiculturalism, because you can't go multiculturalism with slavery. But I think the big one is going to be kneecapping the clout of the landowners. I'm going to mobilize these guys and put 2 guys on the front. The reason we're moving 2, probably don't need to, but when you have 2, if the front splits funny, you won't be in a bad shape because of it. And maybe we can even take a rev once we have all these little puppets. I do hope we click puppet and not dominion, because we need to have, the reason you puppet instead of dominion is because you need to have military access through them. Yeah, we did do puppet. And this will give you military access through them, because the goal is to get Eastern Mali for the Mosque of Djenne, and we are going to get a rev. And it's not going to be too big, but it is going to be most of our troops. So here's what we're going to do. Didn't even, that one came up quite quickly, eh? Or maybe we're just playing on speed 5. Okay, well, we will bring up a ton more of these here. I guess we'll eat the rev, or try the rev. It's not very ideal. We'll mobilize this guy and put him on this front. We'll look to finish that up and then come back. We will also conscript up and recruit some generals. Or no, we'll just conscript up. I think we'll need to conscript. I do think that this rev overall works for us. It is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but I think that we win this because we also have all of these vassals who are going to be able to help us see allies traveling to these fronts. And so despite the fact that our rev has more military than we do, I think that we can get this through. We have roughly half the military, so it's not... we had like, what, 16 out of 36, and so they have 20 battalions, but we have all these subjects as well. I think it'll be fine. They have all the boats, it looks like, which is not as nice, not as big nice. Looks like we could even pull off of this front because our allies would be able to handle it with both Carta and Fuda Jalon. So maybe that's what we'll do, actually. We'll move this guy over here. Oh, did UK just sides with us? Okay, well then we definitely have this quite easily. And we get railways as well, so we'll come in. And we will look to build the railways. We're going to kick them at the front of the queue in Sao Paulo and here. This revolution should be, yeah, fairly easy to put down if Great Britain's going to side with us. Emperor intervenes. I think we will push up on that. And so this will significantly kneecap the aristocracy. And after this, we will probably be going for getting off of monarchy because we don't want to have the bandit ruler of Pedro anymore. We want to get off of Pedro because mainly this. Otherwise, you know, staying on monarchy for a little bit, it's not like the end of the world, but this is not tenable for us, so we'll let that guy finish up and then we'll bring him back over here. Alright. We get everything from Sengo, and then we'll move guys over here. Looks like Great Britain might not really want to bring too many guys to bear over here, so this will be a little bit uncomfortable. But it looks like they are only pushing on this front. So let's take a look at where their capital is. It's in Rio de Janeiro, I assume? Okay. We will set that as the main objective. That way everyone pushes towards that, and hopefully our troops get here. Ugh. We will get pushed onto, I guess, a little bit, but it looks like there's zero interference here. You know, in fact, we'll move these guys to this front because our allies will just keep pushing through here to get over here. So, there's no impediment. Yep, they're just going to get there. And then we will have to reintegrate all these guys, but this will be fine. And we should get banned slavery in relatively good order. And then we'll have the election. And we'll have the election when there's like no clout on the conservatives, which is going to be really nice because we will be able to keep them out of government. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Are these allies the UK? Not that it matters who these allies are, because they're just pushing in anyways. Tooltip, please. They're not away from me? Alright, whatever. So we should get a nice push off these guys now. If only we had a little bit of a navy, we could land them. We are in a little bit of a state of discomfort, though, because we lost some government administrations. We'll just put one at the front of the queue, but I think once we reintegrate, we won't have as bad a bureaucracy deficit, but we might still be in a little bit of a deficit. And this gives us a little time for our infamy to decay before we go for the Mosque of Djenne, which is going to be the plan. We also could annex Orangey at some point earlier, maybe. We do want to integrate Zululand. It will take a while, though, because they are not accepted. Yeah, they don't have common ones, but these guys do, because they are European, for whatever reason. We'll probably... Ooh, we are big fans of... Well, the Intelligentsia love us anyways. And we could get this guy getting abolitionist author, which gives plus 50 popularity. I think we'll do that. Because if he does come in... He is actually currently our ruler, so he's bridging up the authority. I think we'll add a couple of these consumption taxes off that extra authority. We're going to lose some authority once we get on to, once we get off of monarchy. We're going to lose a big chunk of authority, but that's okay. Yeah. Hopefully our pie doesn't get fingered. And once we get the Mosque of Djenne, our MO will be, for the most part, just annexing these guys. And that'll be fine. Let's kind of turn our eyes a little bit towards looking at economies of scale and how we are doing on that front. I believe, yeah, so we're pushing it up in Sao Paulo. We're going to push it a little further on the tools specifically, and then let's take a look at the resources. And we will want to keep pushing it in these two places which have the iron bonus, and notably we also are building the railroad, although this one doesn't have enough employment, so let's actually not increase that one. Let's just look to increase the other one. We have to wait for some migration to here. That's okay. We were encouraging resources in Minisquieres, but we can maybe switch over to this one once this one builds up these 10 iron mines. This might be okay. And the Conservative Party wins. It's unfortunate we don't finish out the Rev before the Conservative Party wins, but we'll still be able to keep a legitimate government. And now the Conservative Party, or the Landowners, get throttled. But we're gonna still take this, and we're gonna need to use our reset PMs. We're just gonna reset all of them. I don't think we have any that have unique considerations at this point. We'll go switch on to sweeteners and all the good ones here, all the goodies. And then switch on and just double check all of our PMs. Yeah, because they all got messed up. Let's make sure we're all on secular. We are on secular. Hell yeah, brother. Let's go harvesting tools as well. Of course, atmospheric engine pump on the gold mines, which got swapped off. And we are going to want to swap these onto rail transport at some point. Let's just do it now and switch this. These are privately owned fishing trawlers. Perfect. We want all of those auto-expanding. Take all these auto-expanding and these auto-expanding and these cannot auto-expand. Okay, now let's get rid of a consumption tax as well. And instead, we're going to put in an edict or decree to encourage resource industries in Minas Gerais. And we'll also need to build a railroad there. We'll put that at the front of the queue. And stuff should get pretty unlocked. I think we'll stick with these as our parties. Really kicked up Intelligentsia will be really helpful for going parliamentary republic, which might cause another rev. But again, if the UK helps us again, this will be helpful, and we will be getting rid of the bandit Pedro himself, who is now psychologically afflicted. He's very well hated. He's this is the cursed king. Or sorry, El Presidente. Actually, I'm not sure what his title is. Pedro de Branca. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not going to make the attempt. Oh, we could definitely stop creating military here in the capital. So however much we have our extra adding, we are just going to not. And then maybe we delete a little bit of military somewhere else, or maybe we're okay being on 48 mils. This seems a little bit in excess of what we want. So why don't we just, we're going to decrease some of the other ones. And now we will have more military in the capital for if we rev again. It'll make solving that rev a little bit easier, but it's still not too big a deal. Let's take a look at our military expenses and military goods. It's still a pretty big chunk of expense. So around 1/4 of our expense. And we're really not going to be... I don't think we're going to do something where we like fight Great Shing or something like this. So we could maybe nuke some more of this. But maybe we're okay. I'm not sure. What the best thing is, it's probably best to delete, but we'll just keep it up for now. Argentina's having a time. Truly one of the times of our time. Slavery ban still doesn't get through. A little bit unfortunate. We were hoping for that one. That one would have been big. For our tech, I'm not sure what we want to go next. We do want to go egalitarianism, get on proportional taxation, but we want to switch to parliamentary republic more than we want to get on proportional taxation. So maybe what we do is we push for mechanized workshops, which is going to be big nice, and then we go for egalitarianism, something like this. Argentina gets a peace deal. We are still on too much infamy to take the Mosque of Djenne. Just a little bit too much infamy. We could maybe think about annexing these guys, Orangey. We are provoking a rev now. It's not going to pop, but we do have to try to keep an eye on it, like we did not with the last revolution, which is kind of why we switched to speed 4. A little bit more chillin'. I think we, as the devastation clears up, is there devastation? A little bit. Not too bad anymore. The economy's recovering a bit, almost back where it was at before. But yeah, maybe we want to switch encouraging the resource industries away from here. Let's take a look. They don't have the iron mine bonus. I don't want to take the authority hit. Para, wait, let's just take a look at where Para is. I'm not sure how essential it is, or how much we got going on. We don't have much going on here. We'll just take the devastation in Para. It looks like we're overall about break even, because you have to do this number plus this number, because the investment pool is currently draining and currently a little bit more developing. God, we need to get more migration. Rev is not going to pop. You have to ban slavery, though. I'm gonna come up in the speed. Just try and keep an eye on this. We also have a bunch of these iron mines and logging camps coming through. The resource industries in general are better. Now, why is this slower in Goes? Do we have negative... Ooh. We have negative infrastructure and state construction efficiency. Pretty bad one, too. But we do need to build a couple railways here. And so maybe we should not be adding quite as many iron mines here. Did not realize this one was getting a pretty severe penalty on that front. And we're overusing the infrastructure already. So we'll actually cancel, yeah, additional mines. And we'll look to focus more here. Do you also have... Man, they just all have it. It's a really painful malice because you can't overcome it that easily with railroads. And we have it in particular where we have iron mines. I mean, we still want to get the iron mines up, so... Weird spot. Now, we are making about 5k, and we have a bit of an investment pool to drain. So we might come in and just add another construction center here. Looks like this rev is coming down, because we did ban the slavery, so let's get on to Parliamentary Republic, which will almost certainly cause a revolution. So we're actually... We could wait for this rev to come down, and then delete a lot of our military. I think we'll be fine. And that way we'll get off of Pedro once and for all. This will cause... Also, since there'll be separate revolution movements, maybe it doesn't do this, because we'll have one for presumed monarchy, and we'll have one for restore migration controls, and since they're separated, because we already had the restore migration controls one, that isn't going to decay, maybe we just don't rev at all here. No, this will decrease until they want to come and preserve monarchy. Probably. They are getting a minus. I'm going to take a look at what taking the Mosque of Djenne does in terms of infamy. 12.8. So that'll bring us over 25. We probably don't want to come over 25. We want to make sure we have good relations with both France and Great Britain. We're going to improve relations here. We're going to switch on condensing pump engine, which is a really big tech. It is huge for efficiency on all of these, and this is mainly what we've been building, and so this will be super nice for us. And now we have the full caked up revolution, and it has, notably, you see it has Bahia, Rio de Janeiro, Minas Gerais, which is not going to be a lion's share of our military, so we could put this down pretty easily all by ourselves, but also we are expecting a bit of help with it, and this revolution, Viva la Revolucion, will hopefully help us get rid of Pedro here. And so we will decay infamy quite a lot faster once we have done this. No more Pedro. Sorry, bud. We just can't abide by a bandit trait. And so we could build more construction here, but knowing we're facing a revolution, we'll just kind of keep it chill and just look to get out from under this. Let's see, what are we doing on tech? Canneries? And then mechanized workshop, and then egalitarianism. That seems about right. Now we could increase or decrease taxes, though. Maybe we just do want more construction in Sao Paulo. I think we will want actually more government administration either way. We're pulling in a lot of migrants. We're going to need a lot of government administrations. And we'd actually rather come up on colonial affairs and stuff like this a little bit. And so let's see if we have insufficient tax capacity anywhere else. No, so we'll just keep building up in Sao Paulo. Or sorry. Yeah, Sao Paulo. We'll put a couple at the back of the queue, and then we get our rev. So we'll mobilize this guy, put him on the front. We will recruit another guy to put him on the back. You gotta hit it from the front and the back, you know what I mean? And then we should be in good shape to take care of this rev. Unfortunately, it takes forever to pop. But that is what it is. Really big nice that none of our subjects just also rev against us as well. This is probably how it should work, where these guys should look to break free while we are experiencing internal turmoil, but instead they just help us with that turmoil. So Great Britain sides with us as well, which will make this big easy. They're not even terrified, which is a little bit of an interesting thing. I guess we'll go up to speed 5. And of course, here's coming in clutch on our bureaucracy. We are going to... Why don't we just keep this authority floating? It will allow us to enact a little bit faster, but we also know we want to put it back down over there for another resource edict anyways. So it's going to be kind of similar. We will take the uni and then delete the uni. Actually, let's not delete the uni yet, but eventually we do want to delete the uni. We want to have all the unis stacked in the capital as a matter of practice. Let's take a look at the journal entries. Someone did mention that they wanted to see these. We have to have a level 4 steel mill in the state in order to get these out. Stamp out Monarchism, urbanize Brazil. We do not have a unique one for Brazil, but I think we can increase this to level 4 though. It's not profitable, but we'll just put on water tube boiler early. And we'll switch this onto water tube boiler, which will be nice because we're having labor problems. If you're having labor problems, I feel bad for you, son. You might be us. Okay, I think we'll take this one. I think the math is better on this one. We get the low roll. Unfortunate. Not a big deal, but it is unfortunate. Fortune is the opposite of what happened. Mass communication, big nice. We are, of course, going to get off of, you know, monarchism, so we are going to be using a lot less authority. A little bit of pain here. I think we do want to also keep cranking up here, so we'll do that. Inefficient agriculture, you're telling me. Look at the migration attraction. 98 allies. I'm assuming a lot of that is the UK, who's decided to help us out quite a bit. Big ups, thank you UK. And we have annexed them, so we will come back in and use our reset PMs button. And then since it changed a whole bunch of stuff, we'll just double check all of our PMs, I guess. Like to make sure these are on the right ones. Yeah, like, we don't want this on, for example, picks and shovels. We do want to be using a little bit more on the rail front. I know it's not profitable, but this isn't our problem, it's their problem. We'll do military shipbuilding. Do all this. We do canneries. Get rid of that tooltip there. And are we on secular everywhere? We are. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And so now we can probably expand construction, because I think the worst is probably behind us in regards to the revolutions. I think that's probably the last revolution we'll have. Maybe if we get some unlucky ticks, we won't, but we have 40%, we have a really caked up liberal party that really is a big fan of this, you know? And so that'll help us get it through a little bit faster. Hopefully we just get the tick here, and we kneecap them, kind of, so we can start decaying infamy a little bit slower. We're going to take a little bit of a save here, actually, and we're mainly saving because if the UK... See, the UK sometimes doesn't like when you expand their customs union. And by that I mean, so they're genial, they're amicable, but they might they might join against us when we go for Eastern Mali here. So we're just going to go conquer state Eastern Mali. This is the big one, the big kahuna, the big one to get. We're going to move both of our guys. No, we're going to recruit a third general. Nice. And we're going to move them, 2 of them here, keep 1 unmobilized. We also are going to put down encourage resource industries in Minas Gerais, I think. is where we want to do it. Do they have... Yeah, they don't have any negative infrastructure thing. And so I think we're going to also try and get them up a little bit taller. Specifically, since we're encouraging resources, we're going to want to do a ton of logging here, because they're not going to suffer from the penalty on state construction efficiency and etc. And then we could also take war reps from them. It won't be that big a deal, but it might get them to back down. We're just kind of waiting to see if anyone joins. Something weird happens. Nope, we'll go do ban slavery and war reparations and open their market, and we'll make war reps primary. We don't care if the other stuff comes through, but it's something nice to have. What's this? Para, I think we decided didn't have a lot going on, so we're just gonna let it eat some problems. And did we get... Alright, so we are now, and we had basically no authority change when we swapped over, when we got off of monarchy, because Pedro was so unpopular with minus 100 popularity because he had psychological affliction and bandit. So it's almost a wash in terms of authority, because this guy's much more popular, and now he is not a bandit, so we will be decaying infamy relatively quickly. Careful, by the way, is a ruler trait that is quite good. Or is it careful? It might be called something else, but it gives you less, or it gives you faster infamy decay. But, so this is going to be very, very nice. We do have to come and find, and so what we're going to do, we can do free trade very easily. What we have to do, ooh, this is going to be tough now that they're kneecapped. So normally what you do is you go back to land-based taxation and then forward to proportional taxation. This will be really difficult. We actually probably should have done this a little bit differently. We should have gone to land-based taxation before we overthrew the landowners, because now we can't go back to land-based taxation, which makes passing proportional taxation big tricky unless you can get the trade unions powerful. And so what we'll do here is we will first go for free trade. I think... Or actually, let's go dedicated police force while the landowners are super marginalized. But then what we're going to want to do is we need to get these trade unionists on up. And which techs were it? I think the labor unions, labor movement is going to be a tech we want to go towards, which we're going towards anyways. But I think that what we're going to do is we're going to do pharmaceuticals into Quinine next, instead of egalitarianism, because we are not going to be able to pass proportional taxation right away anyways. Until we get... If the landowners kind of come back into power, again, this isn't the worst, because we can use them to pass land-based taxation, which we want, because once you're on land-based taxation, then moving forward to proportional taxation is easier. So I think we did flub this a little bit. I think it's a pretty substantive mistake. We should have... we're not gonna, like, restart the episode or anything like that, but I think that we really should have, before getting rid of... I was just so keen on getting rid of Pedro. Before we did this, we probably should have gone to land-based taxation while the landowners were still in power. But oh well, it is what it is. Alright, let's see about infrastructure. We will add one of these to the front. We will add one to the front here as well, because we're building up a ton of lumber mills there. Hopefully we get some good ticks. Discord within the Industrialists. We will just take the extra chance. We would rather the Industrialists have a lot more clout relative to the other guys. We are making some money. Money moves. And so we will come into Minas Gerais and add a couple construction centers at the front of the queue. Get a little bit more construction efficiency there in particular, because we are building up there. And we have a very, very skewed economy, by the way. We have like a ton of tools, a little bit of clothes as far as manufacturing goes, and then a ton of the rural resources as well, specifically iron mines and lumber. We have an absolute ton of logging camps, and we're adding a ton more. We are basically a huge source of lumber for the UK market, and this is only possible because we're inside someone else's market. Otherwise, the auto queue would be really pushing other things, and so it's allowing us to specialize in a much more efficient way. Let us come in here and switch the PMs here in Eastern Mali, which is going to be nice. Hopefully they stop producing millet and start producing a lot more opium. We might even intentionally produce a little bit of opium ourselves, or we might just put this on auto-expand. That way when it gets fully profitable and such, we'll delete these barracks, and of course we will come in and build the thing itself, the Mosque of Djenne, the whole point, which is going to give increased education access. For free, raising concerns. I'm concerned the Mosque of Djenne is too good. We will do this. We don't mind them losing a little bit of clout, and then we'll come and see if we can annex Orangey, and we can. Probably will here. Probably do want to take a save. We are going to try and annex a lot of these subjects that we have made because of the way that great powers will declare against you a lot more if you have subjects. So we will, that are unrecognized specifically. So we will come in on these. And we will also, since we're almost done here in Kenya, we will also start in on Fang, which is going to be a very, very nice spot to colonize. Ooh, looks like the UK has also started there. We're going to declare an interest here and try and get in here because there's no malaria, and hopefully we can cut off Great Britain a little bit to some extent, but they are going to go really fast in Fang, but hopefully we get at least a little bit of a foothold. And we get dedicated police force. Let's come in, let's establish the colony here, and look to see if we can get anything done. You know, it would be great if we could actually just get this lower portion, but if not, we are still getting this, which is much more important. Okay, so we could come on to... I think we would rather have no home affairs here than National Guard. And we would rather have free trade, but why don't we get on to no home affairs, because this will give us a little bit more bureaucracy. We could also go rights of assembly here. Let's do no home affairs first. This will allow us to focus a little bit more on ecoing up. And these are, of course, auto-expanding. Looks like a lot of these places are having labor problems, so what we'll do is we'll actually come in here and turn on the railroads for all these, which should decrease any sort of subsidy. We are paying a little bit of subsidy, but it has to do with the entire UK market. But if we're paying subsidy, that means that railroads are, it's a little bit cheap, so we're going to start swapping more stuff onto that. The Regressivist Party. Let's take a look at it. Alright, we would not mind a little bit of regression to some land-based taxation if that's what you're about. Looks like, are we making money here? We are not when you consider this plus this, but we have a huge investment pool already built up, so we are going to expand construction a little bit in Minas Gerais, where we are encouraging the resource industries. Yeah, we got rid of Pedro a little bit too quickly. We're a little excited about it. Shouldn't have done that just quite yet. That's okay. Live and learn. Yeah, these are going to be... They're going to have super high throughput from both encouraging the resource industries and the fact that we can build them up to level 24. And so that's going to be super nice. And we should, yeah, that's not going to be a problem in there. We probably, our military is probably a little bit too big for like kind of what we're doing, but we also don't have a lot of construction to like wind up and wind back down military, so I think we're going to go for steel railway tech progress. We get no home affairs. So now I think we go to... Actually, let's get total separation while we can here. Catholic Church doesn't like it, but that's fine. Let's see who is actually for this. I think it's just, oh, the landowners and the trade unionists. Of course, if we had the trade unionists as the ones pushing it, we would just go for proportional directly, which is kind of the plan here. Mechanized Workshop is going to be big nice, though. Actually, we don't have too much clothing industries, so maybe it's not even that good yet. I mean, we're still gonna finish it, but yeah, we probably should have just gone pharmaceuticals into Quinine and ignored it. Because we really don't have that much clothing. Because we're in the UK's market, we're a little bit more specialized. We'll declare neutrality here. We'll also just check in, how does the UK feel about us? Because sometimes they just randomly swap to cautious or whatever, and it is kind of important to keep an eye on, because it's going to make a big difference. Alright, we're going to take a pause here, and we're going to switch on the sewing machines and the furniture manufactories. Better PMs. Oop, we definitely want this and this. Sewing machines and furniture manufactories. I guess we have a decent amount of textile stuff, so we'll do that. It also importantly gives higher economies of scale throughput max of 31, but we're not going to be able to, well, we'll just do this one. We're not going to be able to make too good a use of that, because we're not even at the cap, the 21 cap yet, and we are having a little bit of problems. We're needing to try and get more migrants as well. I think we do want to pass no migration control. Oh, we're already on it. So people can move around in our country, but they won't migrate to our country based on some things. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I mean, there's nowhere else for Great Britain to colonize. I guess they could be colonizing here. That would be preferable. But that we are going to get all of Kenya. Or we are going to... Ooh, that's an unfortunate spread. We really wished it was here to cut off the coast. So we can still get cut off. The Free Trade Party wins. We're at max cloud. So... just a moment. Alright, just wanted to shut my window there. It was a little noisy outside. Don't want to damage the integrity of the recording. And we are having a hard time pulling up SOL while simultaneously needing labor really bad. It's kind of a weird spot to be in. Why don't we're actually going to, we enforce on Orangey. We're going to want to integrate them immediately. Because they are just a 5-year integration, because they are European. We're going to reset their PMs. I'm going to take a quick look at if there's anything that probably needs to be done differently. Doesn't look it, but we aren't going to build these barracks. And so these extra gold fields are going to be huge for us once they get fully employed. Now, so we are making a decent amount of money. Let's take a look here and try and figure out where do we have a ton of labor? Pernambuco, and Rio de Janeiro. Now, of course, we want them to migrate away from here towards other places, but we can look to... so fishing wharves are going to be particularly good, actually, so why don't we expand all these and put these on auto-expand here and add a little bit... Maybe we start to allow some of these to auto-expand here. The furniture manufacturers here and the clothing textile mills here. Because we will want them to push economies of scale, and this will be relatively good. And these places have a ton of labor as well. We're just going to add a couple here as well. And so that will hopefully be good. And why don't we actually also try and do... We're floating a bit of excess. This, we are coming on to... I think we did pass free trade. No, not yet. But why don't we try and import a little bit of grain if we can. Russian market, okay. And a little bit of fabric if we can. A ton from the kebab. Let's take it. And then... also the Greeks, sure. And just import that into the market here for Brazil. That way, or the market for the UK, that way it discourages our places from building either cotton or grain. And we're also going to import coffee if we can. And we can. Let's do the Liberian, or actually, let's do Liberian market. And then Let's also import meat. Nope, can't import meat very profitably. And we're just looking for stuff that we would rather the auto queue of other countries produce. I guess Venezuela will do, although we might be looking to stick our finger in Venezuela's pie. We'll do rousing speech. I don't think we need them more powerful right now, but the popularity will go and give us more authority, which now we might be able to do this and put in another consumption tax and then float this. Minus 0.5 oppo disapproval is not too much. And this allows us to make a lot more money, which of course allows us to increase construction. We're plus 10k, and that's plus 8k when we figure in that. So let's come up a bit. And we'll add a couple there, because we know that this place, we want auto-producing a little bit more. This will be a lot of construction centers, so we should be deficit spending a little bit, but okay, we'll swap over to realist art, is the realist. And then we will also swap over, I think, to bourgeoisie patronage. This is something I have to double check, because it does give more capitalists, but the ownership is not like proportional to the which PM you're using. So the capitalists and the aristocrats own more of this than it looks like, but we'll go to bougie patronage because we do like our investment pool right now. We are not looking to just blast up the cloud of the Intelligentsia, which is the reason to go independent artists. And I think we're going to be taking a save and going for another war, right? So we're going to take a look. I think we want to integrate stuff like Fudajalan, Carta, and these guys. Maybe we want to let them float the extra construction, though, so they can fully build out this stuff. In which case, what are we supposed to go for? I mean, obviously Transvaal Dominion is good. I think we actually do want to go after New Granada before someone else does anything to them. And I think we want to Dominion them. And that'll give us 13 infamy, so that'll kick us up over too high. And so maybe we just chill for a little bit and then go after New Granada. And this will be a nice little cap on the episode. Getting New Granada. And we do want to probably go labor movement relatively early. If we go egalitarianism into labor movement, maybe we can get something done. I mean, our SOL is rising. We can also increase the proportion of our workers, even if it's not efficient, that are going to be in the labor unions by increasing these PMs a little bit early. Using labor-saving PMs early. So we'll start getting on that. Specifically the industrial ones, more so than these ones. Although these ones are relatively good now. Are we paying subsidies? A little bit. I actually think that there's several places where we don't have enough work for the iron mines, so we're just going to do this. We love to see them colonizing in Guinea, because it means they're not colonizing as fast over here, although they're going pretty quick over here. We're really hoping we get the full coast of Kenya. That'll make a big difference. We're hoping to get a little bit of this. We're hoping to not get cut off. See, if Great Britain gets this, then we get cut off. If we can try and snake through a little bit here at the bottom, that would be fantastic. That would be much ideal. Starting to burn a lot of money. Minus 20k, basically. But I think this is not too big a deal. We'll damage relations with them, and we'll damage relations with them, because we do want to eventually stick our finger in their pie. And we'll get total separation here, probably. And by probably, I mean it's more likely we don't, but... Okay, yo, let's go. Never doubted it for a second. Okay. So we're on public schools. We do want to get onto free trade. This will refund a little bit because we're using some trade routes, not a whole lot. Property of women will also be nice. This will make the trade unions big happy. I think that, yeah, because we're having some labor problems, I think property of women's going to be nice. First to go. Let's check our GDP. Kind of cranking up a little bit. Okay. Now, getting proportional taxation is such a big one, and it's a shame we can't... There's no way for us to put the landowners in government and get them to pass their thing, you know? You know, people really oppose this. It's the Industrialists and the armed forces, and kind of a big chunk of guys. And so we would need them to have a little bit of a comeback. I suppose if we annex all these guys, we would actually annex a ton of agrarian stuff. This is mostly what they have built up, which would help the clout of the landowners. And specifically, Sengo, might be a good one to annex. Because they can build, just the ones that can build specifically opium, because we would rather they build mainly opium, but that's not what they're going to do normally. Without our hand helping them a little bit. Oh yeah, we're gonna get cut off here. Rip the dream. We got the Mosque of Djenne, we got Kenya. We're actually just in very, very good shape, even if we don't get the optimal other stuff. I think that actually what we might want to do is increase the unis in Sao Paulo. And once these finish, we'll delete our other unis. I think this might be it. We're kind of at that construction inflection point where we're going to want to start spending some more on the universities. Maybe it's a little bit early. Just checking through the PMs real quick here. I'm going to put the fishing wars on auto expand. And we are going to take a look. It's in resources. Places that have a lot of labor available. So Bahia also does. And Para has a decent amount. We're going to add that to Para and also put it on auto expand. It's one of the reasons why fish is nice is because it kind of makes it so there's less demand for grain. So we have a little bit of a change in our authority. Is that because of who's in charge changed, or did he get a negative trait, or what? Or did we pass a law? We might have passed a law. We're not paying close enough attention. I think maybe we stop encouraging road maintenance in Sao Paulo then. And then also come off of this consumption tax here. Now we can increase taxes. Let's see how many peasants we still have. We still have a pretty large amount of peasants. A lot of dependents, man. So we can come up. This would notably, the Midas attraction of people in government would notably kind of help the landowners come back into power if we want to try and seesaw back and forth. And this, of course, will allow us to construct more, which is the main point. We can get an enactment chance, or... we'll just take the more certain one. I think mathematically it's the same EV, so... But if we were keen on maybe switching what we were doing, then you could take the higher risk one. So it's not like strictly better or whatever. Coming up a little bit. Let's see what proportion of our pop is English. 4%, and this is with assimilation, and we are assimilating them. So we've gotten, you know, probably close to 1 million now total from the their customs union, because we're also getting the Irish from them and the Boer people from them, I think from South America, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know about Flemish and Wallonian, though. And we're about to finish the Mosque of Djenne. Let's take a look. Or 7 weeks. Tease. It looks so close to being finished, and it's really not. Alright, Alright, so we're at a low enough infamy, I think, that we can Dominion them. So we're going to take a save, and we are going to Dominion New Granada. New Granada is actually one of my favorite dominions, because it kind of gives you access to the Panama Canal, and just taking Panama from them is a pretty decent chunk of infamy just by itself. And so we'll go for this, and we'll see who wants to finger our pie. We'll probably put all 3 on the front, but then look to do a landing in the back with one of them. And we are dominioning them because we are expecting to want to annex them in the near future. For example, Argentina, we puppeted because we expect to want to keep them as a puppet for quite a long time as they do all this colonization. And we are probably going to do the same eventually with Chile. Or this is the plan, at least. This deficit's not too bad. Coming on up. Definitely want to keep the construction going. Britain's colonizing windward coast, and we have gotten cut off here. So all of our colonization speed is now over here, which is fine with us. France sides with New Granada. Can we sway anyone ourselves? We can sway the UK and then go after French war reps. What do you want? Offer treaty port. We don't want to give up these treaty ports. It's actually probably not too big a deal, though. Relative to being able to get some war reparations off of France. The question is, how much is France going to help out versus how much is the UK going to help out? We also would like to take French Guyana. It's a shame we can't offer humiliation. We're gonna look which is less valuable between Kakua and Antica. Alright, so we're gonna give Kakua a treaty port. And we're also gonna look to take war reps off of France. Or can we sway France? Oh, for a treaty port. I think we'd rather try and get war reparations off of France. Unfortunately, war reps on France aren't primary. We're not going to do return on that, but we will do conquer French Guyana. I think we're going to take the enactment chance here, because we don't really need the prestige. And we might want to activate conscripts. Oh, we shouldn't have activated them everywhere, but that's fine. It's not too big a deal. I think we are going to also want to... Actually, let's just wait and think. So we're taking the French war reps and French Guyana, which is going to clean up our northern border a little bit. They're worried / uncertain. Actually, is there anything else we would want from France? So if France had this, we would want that, but they don't. Do we want this from France? Probably not. I don't think there's anything we want really other than more reps in Guyana, right? Now we could, we don't want to do that. We could do this and make it primary, I think. And I really don't think there's anything else. We're really hoping this war pops off as well. We do not want this to not pop off and us give kind of a treaty port to Great Britain. We're going to probably need to land from behind here, and we're going to need help from the UK. We're going to land from behind here on France and look to brick their front. And all we have to do in order to enforce this stuff on France is to actually occupy Guyana and also occupy anything for the French war reps. And so that's why this is looking pretty good for that. Looks like the UK is interested in that, so maybe they'll come on over here afterwards. Maybe we set this guy on defense and look to promote him a couple times. He's really good at defense. So let's promote him as well. Don't have any allies on this front, so we maybe recruit another general to do the landing. From the Brazil HQ. Alright, we'll recruit that guy. We're not too much stronger on this front, but we're going to try and land from behind and defend this as best we can. It's going to be a little bit sticky. We'll see. Hopefully it's not too much of a mess. We do want the trade unions to have a bit of come up, because we maybe could use them. They're still marginalized, unfortunately, though. And they've been decreasing in clout. Now, let's try and naval invasion behind here with Felipe. And see if we have insufficient tax capacity anywhere. We do not, so we'll add a few of these at the back of the queue. We actually need some at the front, because we're getting a lot of migration, which is increasing our needs for bureaucracy. We're just going to defend here while we look to push here. Hopefully we do okay in these battles. We do have good score. It is narrow front, so the fact that we have less guys is not cataclysmic. But it looks like we're going to lose this first one, so it might just be a very slow retreat. But if it's a slow retreat, we're pretty happy with that, especially because Great Britain is going to look to clap France here and then come on over as so. And so this will be a pretty good war for us. But I think we will take this tick off of property to women and then conclude the episode here. Alright, so that one's going to be good. We're going to put in another law pass for free trade. And then we're going to conclude the episode here, even though, you know, we did just get this war started with France and New Granada. That will be in next episode. This episode, you know, we did two really big things. We got the Mosque of Djenne, which is giving us 22 education access, which is huge because this increases, you know, the cap on our, our direct innovation, which we're going to start pushing a little bit here, building some universities, because we're kind of at that point. We're not quite at that point, but we're just going to build 5 universities and then look to really crank them up in a little bit. But it will also give a whole bunch of natural spread based on the free education access. It increases the equilibrium towards which your literacy trends. And so you see this curve starting to tick up a little bit more. This is when the Mosque of Djenne had finished. And so this is going to be a pretty big deal. And then we also had 2 revolutions to get Pedro out of government. Pedro was a, how should I say, bandit, and so getting him out of government is pretty big dice, because now, this way, we are decaying infamy a lot faster, and we are pretty infamous right now, but that's just because we took the extra war goal off on France, and hopefully we can enforce on him. This is pretty narrow stretch he has to push through. It's a really low infrastructure, I think, in this state, in Para, right? So this is negating part of the advantage he has by having way more guys, because the battles are just going to be really small. 8k versus 7k, as a consequence of there not being a lot of combat width. We're trying to push into New Granada, we're trying to land behind, and so hopefully this will all turn out well. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell. All of this does help out, and have a good day.